everybody. This is the SOBs who love SOV. I am here. Well, first of all, I am Becca. You should know that, I guess. But I am here with my co-host, Slade Shepherd.
Hello.
And we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
Tony Masiello will not be on for a few weeks because that bastard's getting married and he has decided doing his wedding and honeymoon and all that stuff is like more important than SOV. So take note of that, kids. But we do have a very special guest that goes along with
SOV in the news.
We are joined by Maddie Deering, who has just finished a film called Spirit Animal. Now, we always say you may think the SOV is not relevant now, but lo and behold, this movie's shot on video, kids, from 2020. So, Maddie, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm almost done shooting a film called Spirit Animal, which is a no-budget slasher movie. We were shooting on an old Magnavox camera, and when you press the time thing, it says some date in 1991, so...
I guess that's true.
Cool.
They didn't hit the Y2K on that technology.
No. Not even close. So, the camera honestly works great. And the audio is really good.
How are you going to, or how have you been editing this? Do you have your own equipment, or have you managed to find people who have kind of the antiquated tape equipment?
Oh, no, we're editing on Adobe Premiere. I got it from Amazon, and you're just able to upload through your VCR into the, into your computer and upload the footage. So we've been editing that way.
Wow. So
I
no
wouldn't know how to work
Scotch
that old. No Scotch tape.
Man.
Luckily.
Yeah.
So it's not, true SOV, but yeah.
Yes, it is. It's shot on video. It's just edited on a computer. So it's the best of both worlds. So
exactly.
Right. So Derek Huey, my girlfriend, the serial killer. He posted this awesome camera, like just joking. He said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to use for my next movie." And I was like, no. And I tagged Maddie in it. I was like, I'd use that camera or whatever. I was like, SOV will never die.
Exactly. I had been wanting to shoot a movie on, VHS for a while. I just love the look of it. And it kind of gets you nostalgic for old video movies. I rented Killer Nerd when I was in like 7th grade. That was the first SOV movie I ever saw, and I've been kind of obsessed ever since.
So, okay, so then we'll get into this. Obviously, you have a love of SOV as well. Is a requirement to be on this show, of course.
Yes.
So what are some of your favorite SOV movies and maybe some of your favorite directors, or do you have any stories revolving around your youth and SOV? Seems to be everybody has at least a couple of those stories.
When I was in 7th grade, I rented a Killer Nerd for a birthday party, and it had like that home video look, and I don't know, it like my friends and I were like, oh, well, we could make this movie, Yeah. So, I don't know. Not long after, I did buy Video Violence on DVD when it was out, and Cannibal Camp Out, Wood Chipper Massacre, all that stuff. So, and I'm a fan of the Polonia Brothers, but I didn't see Splatter Farm till after I started shooting Spirit Animal. Even though that was could have been a huge inspiration, it really wasn't until after we started shooting. So, and I love Todd Sheets and Zombie
Bloodbath.
Bloodbath trilogy. So, all that stuff. I just love the homemade effects and stuff, which is kind of what we've done in Spirit Animal as well.
And we'll put some links and everything for the trailer, but you also have I don't even know what you call it, almost like a teaser for a place called Dingo Pizza.
Yeah.
That just it embodies everything. It kind of tells you everything I think you need to know. The way that you've done that is just ingenious. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I loved that. So
I was trying to, the old Pizza Hut commercials really channel that. that you would find on an old VHS that you recorded off TV.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I love that. Well, actually, so shout out to Tiffany Lilith Quinn. We did shit show video on it was an audio commercial on our podcast, and it was a very similar kind of thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. But what we are really here to talk about today, so we kind of thought, we need to do some movies that have like quote unquote commercial value. And we're like, what are some shot on video movies that everybody knows? Well, there aren't really. But in the realm of shot on video, two of the most popular ones, well, the most popular or most successful, I think, is officially Redneck Zombies.
Yes.
Which, yeah.
Another one of the first that I saw.
Yeah. And then there are some ones that have more quote unquote critical acclaim, like Tim Ritter's Truth or Dare. But Video Violence was one of the ones that if your video store had some shot on video movies, they had this. And it had a great cover and a great name. And so I think probably a lot more people rented this, not even knowing that it was shot on video back in the 80s. So we chose Video Violence, but it took us 2 weeks to get to this episode. And so I mandated that we have to talk about Video Violence 2 as well, which that was, if not the first shot on video movie that I ever rented, it definitely was the one I rented the most. For whatever reason, it cracks me the fuck up and I just love it. And I saw that probably 5 times before I ever saw the first one. So
it's got a really goofy cable access kind of feel to it that's got a lot of charm.
It does have a lot of charm, and it's actually, and we'll get into this, but it's actually pretty smart. So I think both of these movies are really smart. So what we're going to do is, because Video Violence 2 is not actually a sequel, it is, I don't even know what we want to call it. It is kind of like a follow-up almost. It's almost like a bookend. It's very short, and it kind of like follows what happens right after Video Violence, but has a lot of the same characters, a lot of the same stuff. So we're just going to kind of roll them together with the framework of Video Violence. So if you guys haven't seen Video Violence 2, you'll figure it out like as we go through here. So
yeah, it's very much like a 1.5 or just some extra goodies from Howard and Eli.
Yeah, it's basically, so let's get into the movie. So Video Violence, both of these are directed by Gary Cohen. We think it was made in 1987, and the second one was 1988. So they were filmed basically back to back. This revolves around a video store who they get a mysterious tape. The tape is these two guys. Basically, it's a snuff film, Howard and Eli, and there's a whole mystery surrounding this tape and other tapes that they get. Video Violence 2 is actually Howard and Eli taking their show to cable access. Yeah.
Hijacking satellite signals to take an air to the world.
All over the world. A lot of the same characters, same people, same crew, about everything. I know Slade and I have this on DVD because it is part of that basement big box that we
I never got that box set.
It's so good.
I think it's officially sold out now and is skyrocketed to close to like 80, $90 or something like that last time I checked.
Yeah. But Michael Rasso, we actually did, our very first episode was The Basement, which is a Super 8 movie. So we were like, okay, we're already like, it's an
bending the rules.
Yes.
But
we talked to Michael Rasso about the movie, and he actually is considering putting just that movie on DVD.
Oh,
after we kind of brought it back up to him.
Which is super fun if you haven't seen it.
Oh,
yeah, well, hopefully he does.
But Video Violence 1 and 2, those are on there with some other ones that we mentioned. Cannibal Cookout, or K-Pop, sorry.
Cannibal Cookout.
Hey, what did I just say? Yeah. No.
Movie I'd watch.
No, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because it's there's that Penn and Teller thing.
Oh.
That we
I heard you
talked
about that one of the other
Yes. Yes.
And Becca's being involved with a lot of cannibal stuff as of late, from what I understand too, right?
I am. Lots of cannibals, witches, cults, you name it. I'm doing it this year, kids. And actually, speaking of Todd Sheets, I've got to give this a plug. So the movie that I'm personally making, The Embalmers, I recently announced that Antoine Steele from many of Todd's new and SOV films is actually in my film. So, hey, there's SOV in the news right there. There we go.
Is he playing? Did you say that he was doing something voodoo related?
Yes.
Fucking fantastic! Yes. Oh my God, Sleepless Nights, like his. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him in your movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
so great.
Hopefully. Okay, so back to this movie. So we started with the segment where it has a prologue. So we've got this store. It's actually an Army-Navy store. And we have this girl walking in, and you can't hear her over the other people in the store.
I don't know what the audio is.
Oh my God, the audio in the scene is horrible.
It's funny how it goes from music to like this loud audio of like all these random people talking. It's like, what?
Right, and you have another salesperson and another woman who are not even part of this main scene, and it's like the boom mic is on them, and you hear him say, "Oh, this one's nice. It has Western snaps with pearl buttons." They have CCTV, and they've got a camera in the dressing room pointed at her, and they're watching it. They said it's actually they actually set that up. So what we are seeing is really the video in the dressing room. So they didn't do any kind of cheating on that, which I thought was kind of cool. It was probably easier for them too, but
more than likely.
Yeah. But she wants a tan shirt. And those shirts that he gave her, those don't look like women's shirts. I'm sorry.
I didn't realize it was an Army-Navy store. I wonder what kind of store it was.
Well, I started listening to the commentary, but I was trying to look it up because we had a store just like that when I was growing up. It was like a downtown thing, and it looked just like that. And I was like, man, that looks like, and I couldn't even think of what the name of the store is. But it wasn't that, but just like the weird steps and
the steps,
the random spattering of like tennis rackets and like overalls and everything.
Yeah, the steps are really weird in that. Like it seems so confined, and like it seemed too small to actually be a store. But like from what I understand, the dude with the glasses and the curly hair was actually the owner of the store, that particular store. That's featured in the film there, so
as it usually goes, but yeah, it's really kind of creepy when the guy with the mustache and the unbuttoned shirt goes to her, to check on her in the dressing room, and he has a baseball bat and he bashes her head in.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Then we get that sexy kiss afterwards.
Yeah, kind of sets it up, but he comes so slowly at the camera when he's he's supposed to be quote unquote doing her in. It's like, okay, there's no force there, but that's okay.
Yeah, he's using the other end of the bat too. I was in like, would it be easier that I can use the heavier end? But I don't know. I'm not a murderer, so I don't know these things.
That's right. Right. So yeah, we had.
But
this
then
coming out of your paycheck, not mine.
Yeah. Yes. But I think she took 3 shirts with her, and the one that she like the other ones had to have blood on it too. So that's a pretty pricey little mess for them.
Worth it.
Yeah. Yes.
But as soon as it fades to black, we get the iconic, the wonderful score. Oh my God!
I love the music.
I love the music by Gordon Ovesview. His last name is Odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays Gordo in 2, and it's every time I would just sometimes I've got this on a playlist to just take and listen to sometimes because I love the soundtrack to this movie so much. It's just it's depending on the day of the week, this or Redneck Zombies is my favorite SOV film. So, and a large part of that has got to do with the score of it.
When renting is not enough.
Yeah, I'm still depressed. Like the only person that got my shirt at Horror Hound. I wore a Video Violence shirt to Horror Hound with Rebecca and the director of
Tony Wash. Yeah,
yeah,
he
Tony
was
Wash
the
was the
only
only
one
one
that got
that
it.
only one that knew it. And out of the whole thing, everybody else is just like, what's that shirt? And it's like, damn it.
Damn it,
That's
people! This is
depressing.
it's a
this is a
classic.
horror convention.
Fucking heathens.
So one kind of funny thing about this is it was edited at a cable company, which a lot of people, that's the way they did it. So they'd have to reserve like off time so they could use the equipment. And they had reserved for 2 nights. And after the first night, the people figured out that they were making a horror movie and they told them they couldn't come back the next night. So they had to edit this entire thing in one night, which I really, but sometimes, and we've talked about this like ad nauseum, a lot of times there's just probably this point where they just had to be like, it's good enough. That's good enough. Let's go. I never really felt that with this one, despite the fact that they were on such a time crunch.
Yeah, it felt like a really well put together movie. I think I think it's a solid movie. I mean, it's not as when you take and compare it to blockbusters and stuff. Of course, it's going to fall short in certain avenues. But I really love this film.
There's the video store, which of course is pandering to the audience right there. So, I mean, they weren't doing it, of course, for nostalgia reasons back then. That was a very relevant thing, but now we have it as nostalgia. But I think it was a really creative way of doing doing something that was relevant at the time. So the whole idea that people are just so hungry for like anything, they'll watch whatever. And basically this guy comes in, he has the little slot, he puts a movie into it. And walks away, and that movie eventually we find out is not one of the movies that they have been selling at the video store. But the idea for this came from, and this is actually a scene in the movie, but Gary worked at a video store and had a woman hand him a tape. I don't even remember what the movie was, but it was a horror movie and it was rated R. And she handed him the tape and said, "What's this rated R for?" And he looks at the box and said, "Oh, it says violence." She's like, "Oh, well, that's okay. Then if there's no nudity, then my kids can watch it." And
Yeah.
so that was the whole catalyst for this entire movie, which I think is just great. But
Yeah, it's a very interesting story to take in. Because really, I don't really see why not like more films didn't take and send around a video store, because it's just it seems like a really cool place to take in, just like you said, just to take and pander to the audience. Like it's a very relatable place of kids in the late 80s, early 90s, spent a lot of time there.
yeah, and most of these people did have access to a video store.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them were probably like I was a video store rat. Now, Maddie, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I do see on your bio that you are a little younger than the two of us.
I'm 31.
Yeah, but that's younger.
It's a little younger.
Yeah. Did you ever? Yeah. So did you ever work at a video store or anything, or is that pretty much by the wayside by the time you hit kind of teenage years?
No, that was my first job when I was 18.
Oh, that's awesome.
Of course, DVDs were out, but yeah. I mean, I remember renting VHS tapes and stuff. That's when I saw my first horror movies. But yeah, my first job was still a video store.
All right, sweet.
Question: did your parents let you watch horror movies as a kid?
Oh, they let me watch whatever the hell I wanted. So I had to wait. I think
I had to wait till I was 12 or 13 before I could rent R-rated films, and then once I was let off the chain, I went completely ham with it. I went insane, renting so much.
My family would go to the video store it was like Wacky Wednesday or something, cheap rentals. I rented everything in the horror section. So
Yep.
Same here.
Probably teenage years is when I could probably rent whatever I wanted, and they were okay with it.
Yep, that's the way to go. So like us, Rick works at this video store, but Rick, he is there because 9 weeks ago his dad died, and his boss just says, like, blurts out, "So when did your dad die?"
Yeah, I know.
Like, wow. And he's just he goes back so nonchalantly. He's like, "Oh, 9 weeks ago. That's why I've been here for 6 weeks. Oh, it's such a pain in the ass to take care of my mom through this." Like,
Thank God
wow.
you came into town.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I wouldn't he wouldn't have anything cool if the video store didn't come to town. But they have no cable, no satellite. But they have a video store, and everybody in town has a VCR, and it's very peculiar to the owner.
Yeah, and he came from running a theater, so he's kind of a movie snob. When all these people taking and coming in, he's like, "Oh God, all they want to rent is slasher movies and stuff. God, you don't want to rent anything else." It's just like, God, just be happy they're fucking renting all kinds of films from you.
Yes,
making money.
Business is good. Yeah. And he is a snob. He's talking about, "Oh, I remember just standing outside of theaters talking about Woody Allen movies, and then I come here and like, oh my God, dude, shut the fuck up." But I do like that this is a real video store.
Yes.
So we get to see like all the cool posters, everything that was very relevant at the time. We have April Fool's Day's poster up there.
Critters.
Yes. Now I can't remember half of the ones that were on there, but like the movie boxes. I mean,
I love that Blood Cult was represented a lot in that.
Yes. They actually talked about it. They said the name of it, and they showed the box at least twice. So that was kind of cool. You got that Chainsaw movie?
And he automatically knows what.
And he knows its pieces.
There's so many Chainsaw movies. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, come on. Like, so many other Chainsaw movies before Pieces.
And Pieces isn't even a Chainsaw movie. I know, yes, they took the one kill and they put it on the cover and had something that said, there's not just Chainsaw Massacres in Texas or something to that effect. I know that. But yeah, like that would
Texas to have a Chainsaw Massacre.
There you go. But whatever, he knows. But he paid $3.15 to rent that.
I know, like when I watched it again, I had totally forgot about the prices on. I was just like, oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Well, because I think it wasn't until maybe like the late 80s, early 90s that they started just like $5 for $5 for old movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I was like, $3.15? Oof. Oh. No wonder you went out of business.
Yeah, we never had any club memberships at our local stores either. As far back as I can take and remember, that was never a thing at ours.
We did, but it was a membership.
Yeah.
Is all you would call it. Like, it was your membership card or whatever. Like, they wanted to make you feel special. But it doesn't really matter, because all you had to do was, like, know somebody in town and be able to spout off a phone number, and you could rent a movie under their name, which is totally bullshit, Like...
Did you work at a major chain, Maddie, or did you work like a mom and pop?
It was like a local chain called Video World in upstate New York. So
cool.
More mom and pop.
Those are the best. With the wood paneling.
Yes. Kind of smells like cigarettes and stale popcorn.
We gave away free popcorn when he rented a movie. I missed that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. We did that too, and I would come home and like on a busy night when I'd have to pop a lot of popcorn, I'd smell like that coconut oil, like that orange block of crap that you throw in the kettle. Oh.
Did you guys have the ancient computers running DOS with the inventory?
Oh yeah, they were really old.
That's what both of mine had that. Even all the way up into the late 90s, they never changed it.
That's what Mr. Emery has too.
Yes.
Hit up 12 to print a receipt, Mr. Emery. So they decide to watch the movie that is not their movie. And Rick knows that it's Reggie the postmaster. And he's being tortured by, who we find out later, are adorable antagonists, I guess, Howard and Eli. And they're so comical and they're just so fun. I think that I don't know that this movie would be so endearing now to me or memorable if it weren't for Howard and Eli.
Yeah. Uke and Bart Sumner do a really fun job and they've got a lot of energy with the characters, so that kind of elevates, the particular parts where they're just working around with rubber hands and stuff. It really takes and brings a lot of life into the scenes that they're with. If they weren't in the film, I don't think it would have been as effective, or at least people as talented as that.
Well, and they have good chemistry, and they have that local yokel feel without being like over the top. Like, yeah. 'Cause it's real easy to get a couple people who come in and talk like this, that's what you would usually expect, like, from a film like this. But they're actually pretty good actors, and they ride that line between comical and sadistic, like, really well.
Yeah, I think I remember what Eli was worked for the state, taking out and picking up roadkill or something like that.
Oh,
so, as to how he got involved with the film, I don't know, but I'm glad he did. I don't even know if he has a last name really, because like it's always listed as Uke in the credits. It doesn't really. I don't know if that's just.
At the end of Video Violence 2, I did notice that it had his full name with like that Uke or Yuki or whatever in quotes, like as a nickname, but I don't remember what I said his name was.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Who cares? But so they watch this snuff film, and then they have this brilliant idea: lock the door. Rick is going to take out a pocket knife. He's supposed to guard this tape with his life. Well, Mr. Emery runs over to the church, library, police station, and borough office. It's all in one.
Oh Lord, the sheriff. Oh.
So I think at this point, this is the first. I mean, aside from Howard and Eli, I think this is the first kind of callback that we have. So the chief of police is he wears a horrible toupee. He is just a ball of rage and idiocy. And he actually does one of the segments in Video Violence 2, which was probably my favorite one.
Mine too.
Yeah. Because, I mean, not everybody can make an electric chair in their house. But, the one thing that I kind of like wish they would have incorporated in this, I love his wife in the electric chair homemade video in Video Violence 2, Millie.
Yes. Yeah, where she's talking about taking and macing the guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's something like, well, we drugged his ass and then brought him back over here. But we'll get to that, I'm sure. But yeah, the chief of police, he of course doesn't believe, the city slicker or whatever. Now, somebody explain this to me. So we see later how this went down, sort of. But how did they get in? The door's unlocked when Mr. Emery gets back. Rick's gone, the tape is gone, everything. But the impression is that they broke in, right? How did they get in if the door's just unlocked?
I just guess that they had taken in Jimmy the lock on it to get inside, but as to how it all transpired, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So Maddie, do you have any answers on this?
No, but I want to know that whenever he's talking about the tape to the sheriff, he says you can't see their faces, but you can clearly see.
You can clearly see
The
their
face.
faces.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I think they said each other's names in that first one as well.
Probably.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, they actually get into the camera and everything.
Exactly.
I'm guessing all that was shot afterwards, so it's just shooting all the Eli shit all together.
Yeah,
Well,
whatever.
I
acting like they wanted to run a tape or something, because Rick didn't know what Howard and Eli looked like or who they were.
That's
Or
true. That's right. 'Cause you
Some
didn't.
type of excuse. Or, I mean, I guess since their faces weren't shown in the tape, right?
Yes, right. I guess that's right. Like, oh well, these two hillbillies, they look totally innocuous. I'm gonna let them in. Like,
Why not?
trying to explain what two rednecks looking bumfuck nowhere is just like, oh, the two rednecks. Like, oh, which one? What the fuck are you talking about? Everybody looks like a redneck.
yeah. All 300 of their members, who all have VCRs. That seems a little high because you think about it's supposed to be a really small town, and like a membership seems to be almost like per household. So like 300, let's say houses. So let's say they have what, like 600-700 people who rent movies there, and they're closed on Sunday through Tuesday as well. If you notice on the side.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a lot of days to be closed, honestly.
And to have that many customers,
Yeah.
like whatever.
Oh, I got the sheriff taking and coming back to the store with them, and all of a sudden Rick's missing. They don't know where he's gotten off to because he's a prankster, evidently known around town as a prankster. So he must have taken and fabricated that video. So,
Right.
and the sheriff lets him know that he should take and possibly that he needs to lay off the monster movies and stick with the kiddie stuff, which is a great line. I love the sheriff in this. He's just an asshole.
He's very colorful.
Yes.
So yeah, Rick's gone, and he's just like a little concerned, but not incredibly concerned. And as you said, just that line of dialogue, we're supposed to accept that Rick is somehow some kind of punk around town, even though he's only been back for like 6 weeks, but whatever.
Yeah, they later call his mom, and they said, "Oh, he went to Boston." No, I don't know. You don't have a number for him.
Yeah.
So, the mom is totally okay with the town murdering her son. So,
Right. I mean, and that's the impression that you have to get because everybody, the whole town, basically is in on it.
and that's not really a spoiler either, because like it's just wondering who from the start of the movie. It's just town person after town person after town person revealed to be part of this conspiracy, and you're trying to wonder, is there anybody who isn't involved with it, and why are they letting these two people from outside still stay alive? So
This always reminded me a little bit of like Troll 2 with like the whole town being strange like that.
Whoa.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's me though.
Neil Bog.
Yeah, it's goblin spelled backwards.
But the acting in this is better, and nobody pisses on dinner. So
Thankfully.
Piss on hospitality. I won't allow it.
then we get to day 2. You know, they do the very like ominous like red letters on the black screen, and there's a kid walking a dog out back.
Yes.
And this is where we find out that Rick has met his demise, or at least we're supposed to assume it, because we see a hand clearly sticking out of a trash bag in broad daylight. You can't tell me that the trash people, although the trash people are probably in on it too, so
Exactly.
whatever. But like nobody notices this.
Yeah, well, see, the thing about that particular scene with me was that the kid is just like walking his dog, and comes like the bag with the hand. There's a hand sticking out of the trash bag, and he's just like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna walk my dog this way." No, it's like nothing new to me. So
I really love that shot too, because they have it, like, it was like the point of view of the dog coming towards the hand, and they said they put meatloaf in that hand so the dog would come over and eat it. But yeah, that was kind of, it was just kind of like very low to the ground, and then the kid just like walks away, and But yeah, I mean, I guess that just happens. I mean, I guess, he's probably been told, if you want to keep that VCR, then, we got to keep killing people, Joey. So.
Yep.
All price to pay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, I was saying that like one of their first customers today is the one that you were mentioning earlier about the mom coming in and renting Blood Cult and saying, what's this rated? It's rated R. So does it have any nudity? Oh, great, the kids can watch it. And I've always been baffled by that. Because living in the South, it is incredibly common for families to take and let their kids watch extreme violence and just dismemberment and, very gory, like hunting videos and stuff like that. But as soon as you pop a tit out, they're going insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, it is really, really odd. I think it goes back to like our puritanical roots of our country and something I don't know, but that's actually the lady that came in. That's Gary Cohen's babysitter, and that's his baby. So that's little Zach of Little Zach Productions.
Little Zach Productions with a little photo at the end of the movie. I was thinking that was his kid, but
we have another Howard and Eli, and this one, this makes me uncomfortable, this one particular scene. I don't know why. Like, I mean, it's not any worse than anything else that I've ever seen, but there's something about maybe the reaction of this girl and the way they're so sadistic to her that, like, I'm like, this is a really, really good segment.
Yeah, it's a bit more mean-spirited, for sure. Like, as far as just the way she reacts to them it seems to be a bit more genuine, like just really being not about what's happening to her.
Yeah, and just the fact that they start their kind of like their little comedic shtick that we see a lot later in Video Violence 2. But yeah, the whole like they pour whiskey all over in her mouth, the beer on her shirt, and they're just torturing her. But she does a really good job. But on the commentary, they said the audition story for her was they saw her in the backseat of a car in a parking lot. They knocked on the window, asked her if she wanted to be in a movie, and would she take her top off? She said yes.
That's amazing.
Maybe some of that uncomfortable atmosphere maybe have to do with her actually having some nudity in it. Like she'd be on board for it until she's like tied up and in front of the camera and everything, and then having some kind of feeling bad about it or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it just
or she just was a good actress and they could just see that in the back seat of the car.
Yeah. Just, oh goodness.
This is when they finally call Rick's house. Okay, I have never understood how those antique phones work. Like the ones where you have you talk basically into the wall and you've got the little earpiece. Would those have still worked in the 80s?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I mean, I know they just want to make it seem like she's real. I mean, like her wallpaper already screams, "I'm an old lady."
All my grandparents had the rotary phones still in their houses well into the 90s. So, like, I learned how to use those at a very early age. I can you imagine being in mortal peril and having to take and be like, yep. Fuck.
If you think about it, 911, like the first number is the one that takes the longest to get around. Why didn't they make it 211? Man.
It'd be quicker to dial an operator and be like, fuck, help me.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
Isn't that what people always did, though? I mean, like, I don't remember ever calling the operator. Like, you would maybe call 411, which was information if you needed to know somebody's phone number. But, like, I never, ever in my entire life dialed 0. It seems like everybody would just be like, hey, operator, I'm looking for Joe Schmo. Like, I mean, in all these movies, and it's like everybody just assumes the operator can give them any information whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, him, I know his number. Hold on.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. But so I'm really like Mrs. Emery, so the owner's wife. I guess they were married or are still married, actually, in real life.
Yeah, and we're actually actors, actual professional actors to some degree anyway.
Yeah.
For plays and whatnot.
Right. Like, but she works at the Borough office, the BORO office. Okay. And she's going to use her clout and her information and access and everything to try to find Reggie, the postmaster, because he's retired to Florida. And so there's no way he could be on this tape, whatever. She keeps calling and all circuits are busy. And eventually they show the borough office outside. And there's like basically the phone line coming up the top. And then it just goes straight down to this other little building.
I really like the angle that they were intercepting every phone call that was going in and out of the town. Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. Like a little neat touch, and how they take and fabricate people, like with the dude in Florida. Just.
But I question why it was so necessary. Like, I mean, I guess it was implied that it was just her office maybe that was going to that. I mean, with the physical line or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, they only have 2 outsiders in their town.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you'd figure that would be fairly easy to keep a handle on, but I guess not.
We go back to the store, and knowing that this is a real store, this irritated the hell out of me every time they would show it. Like when people are standing there looking at the movies. Their movies were not in alphabetical order at all. There was like Hills Have Eyes, and then Village of the Damned, He Knows You're Alone, The Gorger Girls, Twilight Zone. I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason to these movies.
They just wanted to show up if they wanted to show.
Yeah.
Either that or you got these asshole customers who don't fucking put things back where they're supposed to.
Now that's the better answer.
Mm-hmm. Like the analogy of today is like at Target when they sell like towels with monograms on them or like the mugs or whatever, and somebody goes over and makes bad words with them.
I love that.
I do too.
A little bit of anarchy in the world is all right.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love.
That's right. That's right. But now they get 3 more tapes because Pat Benatar's mom comes in. She looks suspicious. She actually ends up in video violence too because she takes over the video store. So she leaves these 3 movies. And then I have in my notes in asterisks, if the Army Navy store has CCTV, why doesn't the video store have it? I mean, really, honestly, shouldn't they be like the one place in town that would have the technology to easily record their customers coming in and out and know who did what?
One would think, especially considering the amount of traffic coming in and out of that store.
Then this is my favorite part. I think of this whole movie, and I don't know why, and that is that there is this feeling of helplessness, but it's also hilarious. Because that whole thing of being, you know, everybody's got that fear of being like the kind of, it's like the Get Out syndrome. Like everybody's been in a situation before where they're like, this ain't right. I need to get the fuck out of here. You know, and that's where he is at that point in time. Like nobody's listening to me. I can't trust anybody. So he takes the tape to the sheriff because that seems logical at this point in time. But the sheriff plays stupid and erases the fucking tape.
Just putting it in backwards twice and just like, I got it. I know how to work this.
And then he hits record. Well, there's nothing on the screen that says record, but that's okay. That's okay. Suspension of disbelief. Maybe the police station VCR is just a different type than your home VCR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did they say that they used that to watch the drunks in the drunk tank or something, like record the people in the drunk tank or something like that? I can't remember what he said he used. Yeah,
something like that. Clearly, they don't use it very often, but yeah, it's fun. It's
because they
funny.
probably murder everybody, all the drunks that are from out of town. So
That's true. And one of the things in the commentary that they said is they couldn't remember whose house that was. It was some random people, and they threw them money to let them use their house. And then, like, yeah, like they just kind of knocked on the people's door. Now you got to get an Airbnb, but it's a little easier, I think. But he gets back home with his wife, and wants to say wants to tell her about this conspiracy, and she like Nancy Drews this shit. She actually she doesn't completely dismiss him, but she does like say, okay, we got to let's get a hold of yourself. Let's get to the bottom of this. I like her rationality. He's like, you want a drink? She's like, no. And he goes over to their little bar to make a drink. First of all, and I understand why they do this in movies. First of all, they have those decanters. Like, why would you buy a bottle of whiskey and then pour it into another fancy bottle? But I understand, no labels. That's fine. I can get that. But they have the little ice thing there, and the ice thing is full. Like, do they just keep ice there? Like, do they just check it every couple hours and like dump out the water, ice in? You'd have to be a severe alcoholic. That's my takeaway from that.
Well, look at your main characters.
So then we go to day 3, and this is where we get the deli stuff. So you guys can take over on this one. We got the Jeep with the out-of-towners.
yes, they taking and coming in, and the guy and his, I guess, girlfriend taking and going inside for some supplies. And my favorite scene of the entire movie, Eli crossing the street in what appears to be a smock with no pants on and a Shanka hat with sunglasses, wielding a knife, approaching the Jeep. It's just the most odd outfit choice that they could have ever had for that. And I love it so much.
They wanted to say crazy in every way they could.
Oh, my God.
The little store they go in, I kind of thought it was maybe supposed to be like a dad, like a guy and his wife, and then she was the daughter, maybe. I don't know. The two women looked very similar in age, but I think it was more of one of those, they just cast who they had available kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have very many lines. They just had to die well.
Yeah, they had to die with their fresh lemonade.
Like, Maddie, would you take like fresh lemonade from a stranger? Like just in a store with all kinds of people sitting around watching you in the store?
No, it's a little creepy.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like this was a restaurant, which even then, I mean, I guess we trust the tea pitchers or whatever at the restaurants. But yeah, like I'd be like, nope, I've got my Diet Coke that's nice and sealed right here. I'm good.
So like
They got,
having
their friend waiting in the car, and they were like, "Oh, where can we rent canoes? Oh, lemonade. Never mind."
Yeah.
As soon as they offer lemonade, everybody takes and turns around and watches, and just like they're just, no, I won't have any. No, thank you.
Now that I think about this might be kind of my favorite little sequence because they die. Cyanide, I guess, is what it's supposed to be, but they puke all over the floor, and that's apparently cream of mushroom soup.
Oh, that's what I use for puke and spirit animal, actually.
Oh.
And you didn't even know. See, look, more inspiration that you didn't even know that you had.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
I think so.
Oh man!
And I have to say that the guys running the deli look creepy as fuck. They're like, like they should be on a sex offender list, kind of creepy looking.
I bet if you Google that.
Yeah. Yeah, because the one guy, so like Deli Dick or whatever, which that's just, they said that's actually the guy's real name. Like that's actually his deli. But then the other guy who's there, like, he's got sort of a slight Middle Eastern kind of look or something. He never says anything. And he always like has these beady eyes and is just looking around very suspiciously. Like,
yeah. And when they get the cyanide and then they fall over dead on the other, like, I am assuming instantly dead on the other side of the counter. Like when they take and peer over it, God, they look fucking crazy. Like, it's just like, oh God, Jesus Christ, you guys are just fucking creepy looking. Get away. Ah.
Yeah, because he comes out with the electric knife.
Yeah, it's a really gnarly decapitation with that. I really like that. I'd imagine that a good bit of the budget went towards that head, which actually looked pretty good.
Okay, so that head was not the cast of that actress.
Really now.
They had cast somebody and they did okay, so they hired somebody. Let's put it that way. They hired an actress, they did the cast of her head, and then she flaked out on them and they hired this other girl. So it's not even really like her head. But I'm assuming they probably hired this girl based on her hair. Because the hair is very similar. But
it's close enough. You know.
It doesn't matter because once the head's boiled, it doesn't really matter.
And we got Howard just taking and going full tilt crazy, just laughing maniacally and licking the Caro syrup off of his face and just going nuts. And I remember they used that in the re-release trailer for the Camp Motion release of it, and he fucking goes nuts in those scenes, and I love it.
I don't want to sound like the wealth of trivia, but there were some interesting things because Howard goes to dump her body, and it was like just off the side of the road. They take the Jeep. It's off the side of the road. He's got like a body, what is clearly like supposed to be a body, and he throws it over like a ravine or something. They said there was actually a real cop like parked there down at the end of the road, and he didn't even flinch when this guy is throwing a body down the fucking ravine.
That says a lot.
He got those big balls, then make him think that they wouldn't dare take and do that in front of a cop. So,
and maybe
I love his little wave that he does after he kicks it into kicks the body in the ravine. God, he's just a treasure in this movie.
He is a national treasure.
Yes.
Then we get this one. It kind of was threw me because I'm not really sure why they did this, but there's a guy that's like digging in his backyard for some odd reason, and he goes inside to take a break and he watches a movie. He watches one of these snuff movies, basically. I guess they maybe just want to show that other people are watching them.
Yeah, it kind of felt like unnecessary padding for me because the ADR on it, like, it was very difficult to hear what he was saying while the actual snuff film audio was taken and going. Pretty much all I got at the end was, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. Wasn't too bad. That's about all I understood the entire time that was going on.
All you needed to do. That's all you needed to understand. So, but yeah, then we've got Mrs. Emery goes into the deli.
Oh, I just don't understand why she leaves her purse on the counter and then walks across half the fucking store and comes back and they slid a tape in there. Anyone could have robbed her blind.
The 80s were a simpler time.
Well, this is true. I mean, I'm now.
Well, but not just that. You are pretty convinced at this point in time that there's a big conspiracy to like kill people in your town. I would be a little more guarded.
Exactly.
But yeah, that is so stupid. And then she looks around when she notices the tape and she tries to be all like coy about it. But it's like, no, sweetie, everybody knows that like, I mean, you're getting in your wallet and there's this huge honking VHS tape in your purse. Everybody's going to know that you noticed it. When she takes it home and they watch this, they are upping their production value.
I laughed. Like when I rewatched this, I laughed at that line. It's like, oh, this has got production value.
Yeah. What they noticed was it had titles and and like some music and everything else. So like maybe this isn't real, but they notice that it's filmed in the daylight, that there's a reflection in the mirror, and that it's been edited and it's artsy fartsy.
Artsy fartsy.
That's right. Vampire Takes the Bride, baby. So we have to call New York and find out if this has been playing anywhere in the theater.
Oh God, that scene.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but
Let's call the operator.
that's right.
Can't get
That's right.
through.
That's right. Right. Oh, it's a double feature at the theater. Night of the Living Dead and Vampire Takes a Bride. What do you know? You know what? You just got this movie for free. That would have been a new release. That would have been at least $5 at the video store. So you just got a bargain. So day 4, we kind of find out people are coming in and using other people's cards. And we've got this chick who comes in and she's looking for Laurel and Hardy.
Thank God we've got somebody coming in here that doesn't want to take and watch a slasher flick.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't take and just like start picking her brain about Woody Allen. Like, oh God, that just flew all over me because I just got people who take and treat me like that. But I watch garbage. I'm just like, it's fun. Fuck you.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? But I will honestly say that I totally forgot about this twist. I don't know why. Because it's pretty integral to the plot.
Yeah, we're very.
Yeah, they kidnap her in front of them, and that should be a red flag right there. Broad daylight, she's on a bicycle, like. But they follow her or follow them in the car, and they never even flinch. It's like, okay, like I should have known. Yeah, so she's bait.
Yeah, and they get to the house. And this is none of your concern. So, why the fuck did they go in the house? Why?
Well, because what else are they going to do? They can't go call the cops. I mean,
they can get the fuck out of town.
Yeah,
because no murder awaits down there. They have to, but we got to move it forward.
That's true. That's true. And this is. Again, we've talked about this before. This is why we like independent, low-budget horror, because they can afford to take some chances. Being the filmmakers, because they go downstairs, the Emerys go downstairs, and then we get the big exposition of, well, we use transients, and this is how they don't really explain how they're actually like making money off of the videos, because that's okay. But they do lights, camera, action, and they kill them. And that that doesn't happen in a high budget, high production movie. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I really like that particular aspect, despite, not liking how it came like just how they took in the vehicle that they used to get there. But having those people just having these people we followed throughout the whole movie just end up dead like everybody else, and then moving on from there, taking and going back to the video store. I thought that was cool. I really enjoyed that, and I really liked the shot where they're taking similar to the shot at the start of the film with the bat, like where they're closing in on them, about to take and strike. I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah, it's almost like a zombie kind of like POV type shot or something where they're just coming at you and
laughing maniacally.
Yeah. But what I don't understand. So now, okay, day 5 is epilogue. Video stores under new management. You must be a lifer, right?
Yep.
People are wearing shirts. So the impression that I got is the only reason they tolerated those two for so long, I thought would be because he opened the video store, right?
Yeah.
But all they had to do was kill him and take the video store. They could have done that like the day after they moved into town. Am I right?
They wanted to mess with him at that. Have a little fun.
That's true. That is true. You got to have some fun.
You gotta scare the meat a little bit so it'll take it, so it'll be taste better.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But then they have they're putting out the cases of the movies, and they've got it's just white, and they've got just the people's names.
Just names.
Black marker.
Yes.
I love how I was under the impression that that's how long they lived, like how old they were on the dates, because some of them were like 1980 to 1986, and I was like, oh my God, they're killing kids and putting it on there. That's kind of fucked up. But
Huh. Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I noticed that it had a date on it.
I don't know. I may have not seen it correctly, but like a few of them, it looked like there were like a tombstone, like there were tombstones almost.
Well, they don't care. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe they just want to show how incredibly heartless that they are.
Show off their coming attractions.
That's right. That's right. Because they have lots of coming attractions, which we find out some of the names of them in Video Violence 2. So that's the end of that.
Yeah, I love the last shot of the film, like where they're taking and showing the Emerys like all fucked up from where they
laying on the floor.
Yeah, that was great. And then cut to the amazing music again and roll credits.
Video Violence 2, they have a promo of their basically their greatest hits.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it gets a little old because they read every single one of them.
Yes, they do.
Which, yes, which that is not ever the way KTEL or any of those places did it. But so I actually took pictures of these. So let's go through and I'll give you the best ones. So there's Electrocuting Rita, Roasting Rosie. Okay, you can only guess what Deli Madness is. Frenchtown Follies. We do have The Vampire Takes a Bride. The Killing of Mr. and Mrs. Emery is in there, of course. I Ate Your Guts. Ice Pick Anyone. That's got to be the lady who was in the Jeep, right? Because they killed her with an ice pick, I think.
It's either that or like a long stiletto knife or something like that.
Eat My Heart Out. That's at the beginning of Video Violence 2, so I'm not sure why they would. Pele Gets a Pounding. Not sure about that one. That sounds like a different kind of movie. Keep Your Eye Out. Castrating Cats, but it's Katz. And then Captives, which of course is a Gary Cohen movie in there. The Serial Killer, but cereal like the breakfast food. And of course, lovable Howard and Eli bloopers. So I would watch any of those, I think.
You and me both.
Yeah. So come on, Gary Cohen, get with it. But of course, some of those, like I said, some of those are actually in here, in the first one and in this one. This always confused me. Or it did a little bit when I was like younger, but then when I watched the credits today, I realized. So the very beginning, I thought was like supposed to be going back and showing the filming of The Vampire Takes a Bride. At the end, it just says the segment is just called The Vampire. So this must infer this is a different production. It's their second vampire movie.
Yeah, and the director insisting on being called Avon. Or was it Avon or God, what was it?
No, it was like Avon.
Avon.
I love the way that they segue into the Video Violence 2, because then we have the credits and we have actually Gary Cohen is a newscaster who is on this cable channel explaining the pirate broadcast of Howard and Eli's show.
Yep, how they're hijacking the signals of satellites and trying to broadcast it to the world, and then his broadcast itself is hijacked. So,
he gets excited when it starts. He's like, oh.
I love the opening credits for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was smart and it was clever. Then from then on, we're watching the Howard and Eli show, and it looked very much like you would think a cable access show in that time would look.
Yep, and we've got more great music coming from the
Gordo.
Yeah, from Gordo.
And Gordon's hilarious, sitting there with a sunglass. It's like his reaction going on. It's hysterical.
Yeah, like a lot of the times he's watching stuff and he's kind of cringing, or
exactly.
And it has that talk show. I mean, we still have that format, really, but like that late night talk show thing where it's like you're gonna talk to the music guest, you're gonna have a guest, you're gonna play clips and everything else. They tell jokes. terrible
jokes. What is red? What is white? Black and white, covered red all over, and can't go through a revolving door.
What Was it a nun with an axe in her back or something?
Or like it's like a nun with a javelin through her head or something.
Yeah, or something like that.
It's what was the frog one?
Oh, that's recycled from Friday the 13th Part 2. What's red and green and goes 100 miles an hour? A frog and a wind. Come on. It wasn't funny in 82, 83, 84. It's not funny in 88.
His delivery kind of makes it funny, though.
Oh, no.
It's just,
no, but
and their terrible reactions, like, oh, God.
But it is that typical, like, vaudeville thing, you know? I mean, it's supposed to be cheesy. There's supposed to be little one-liners and that kind of thing. I like it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, too. And I enjoyed their first commercial break.
Right, which I believe... Yeah, I was going to say, I believe Maddie mentioned this before when we were just talking, when we first started talking about doing this.
Would you like a Wilbur, Maddie?
I would love one.
Would you dispatch children?
He's machine washable.
That's all that matters when it gets all my blood on him.
That's right. Well, yeah, you let Wilbur do the dirty work. Well, wait. Okay, Slade, you were questioning, like, the 80 to 86 or whatever. They just killed a kid right there.
Yes, they did.
So, I mean...
which was kind of shocking the first time I ever watched this, because, you know, that's such a taboo and very rare. Even in independent film, they don't do it very often. So it's especially as a gag, like as a funny gag, it's very rare. So I appreciate the break with that.
Beware children at play, maybe before I saw this, so.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I remember that like in the Troma commercials, and I was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
So that was nothing to me.
Yeah, get them.
As terrible as that is.
No, not really. I like children. I do.
Okay then.
They're overrated. No.
We don't on this podcast. We don't endorse kids being viciously attacked. So no.
Okay. Hey, everybody knows we're sarcastic. But then they had their first guest, and she answered an ad and she thinks this is an audition for a horror movie. Debbie Landau. Yay! And I love that they add that in, just like the claps, like the clear clap track and laugh track. So funny, so cute. But yeah, so they make her strip, and she sucks at stripping. I know she's supposed to, because obviously she's supposed to be a horrible actress as well. But like, why is she wearing like red silk boxers under her dress?
Thank you, because I was wondering the same thing when I watched.
Yeah, I mean, she ended up having regular women's underwear too, but yeah,
layers.
Yes, layers of lingerie, questionable lingerie. But yeah, she pretty much sucks. We do find out later. I guess it doesn't matter about spoilers, but we find out later she really is an actress, and she really is a pretty good actress. And she's been acting this entire time. But you know, that's kind of neither here nor there at this point.
I like when they give her the lines to read and she reads the actions.
Oh my God, yeah.
She covers her breasts.
But okay, so yeah, she's in there the whole time, but then we got the first thing that we talked about, the toupee cop doing the homemade video of his own electric chair. Freaking love this. Love it.
Amazing in it.
Yeah.
Right. The eyeballs pop out of that plastic head.
And the wonderful colander cap.
It's homemade. But I actually liked the electricity effects that they used.
That's what I was about to say. Like,
is that what you meant, Maddie?
Oh, what with the effects? Just everything. I love like the eyeballs and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the electric effects too. I like everything about it.
Yeah, the because that people, even in high budget movies, people cannot do visual electricity.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, because half the time it's not even visual, and that's the problem. But the way they did it was pretty cool.
I wonder how in the hell that they did like some of the the effects at his feet that actually kind of look like with it like popped and looked like little flashes of electricity taken and jumping out. I wonder if that was actual electricity or not, or how they did that, because it looked really good, surprisingly.
Fireworks? I don't know.
I don't possibly, but I know that they probably used some explosives for that head gag at the end.
Oh,
definitely. And I love the head gag.
Oh yes, so good. And did you notice his shirt says "This body covered by Blue Cross and Blue Shield"?
I know
I missed that somehow.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like, so you're gonna take and rob somebody wearing a Blue Cross Blue shirt. It's so odd. I don't know.
Man, but I do love Millie in that. She's hilarious. And even Howard and Eli agree with me too. They want to see more of her.
Got that je ne sais quoi.
Okay, so this still makes me cringe. So they go back to Debbie. Debbie can't talk. She needs to give a rating, and they cut her arm and use her tendons like to make her hand like a puppet.
Ooh, yes.
Now there's one shot where it is clearly a mannequin. I mean, where that he's actually making that really long cut on her arm, but it still makes me cringe.
Just that and like Achilles and just stuff like that takes and bothers me terribly. You know, another thing that bothered me, like just off topic, is if you guys have ever seen Imprint. Oh God, the fingernails where they're taking and sticking those long, like toothpick bamboo shoots under their fingernails. Oh my God! Ugh.
That always bothered me too. That was like banned from Showtime, if I remember correctly.
Yep, they couldn't show it. I think it's because some of the subject matter in that movie, but it's totally worth checking out, especially if you enjoy Japanese cinema. But back on topic.
Yeah. Ugh, yeah. Anyway, it still makes me cringe, and then even to find out it's not even just an effect; it's an effect in the movie itself, But it's like it's just that idea. My mom and my sister have this too. We can't stand people to touch the insides of our wrists. Like, I have to wear long sleeves when I type on my laptop because I don't like the inside of my wrist to touch the computer itself. So I think that's part of it. It just, yeah. Okay, we're getting past that.
Well, where's this phobia came from?
I don't know. But then I love this segment. So then they have their next submitted video. And this is the only one. These girls were not in the first movie, were they not?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay, I didn't think so. Because everybody else was, and they even make a mention later, you can't buy their video because they can't tell you where to send things, but then these girls who don't live in the town, they knew where to send the tape. That's okay. But
what bothers me about this is it's like a found footage type thing, but like for the whole first part of it, they're talking about watching Howard and Eli and everything, and who's recording them talking.
Right.
It doesn't really fit to me.
It didn't for me either, and I think the runtime's a little long on it because it's
really
like almost a quarter of the entire thing is like dedicated to that.
When the movie's only an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Itself, but
I think it's like 14, 15 minutes. It's like, too much dancing, but we'll get to that.
But we also get to see that whole like meta thing of they're watching Howard and Eli, and it's the best thing to come on cable since Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
Down to Fraggle Rock.
Oh, man. But yeah, I like the idea that they're like calling them out for being misogynist because they didn't have any. They always had guys killing women. Why can't the women be the killers? And I always laugh when that kind of comes up in any movie. It's like a Scream did it, like, or whatever. Like, well, equal opportunity. Women can be killers too. Yeah, the slow motion dance party.
Goes on for 20 minutes.
Yes. A little.
It's some wonderful dance moves too.
This pizza guy just comes in like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they are going to pay for all the pizzas in his truck. So.
Fair enough.
I love when they're discussing it. They're like, yeah, and we'll rape him.
But they say that after. We'll castrate him.
Yeah.
And we'll rape him. Like, you guys need to think about your, like, order of events. Oh. Oh. But, you know, he's really funny. If you look at his facial expressions and stuff when he's doing it, he's clearly, like, playing it up being a total nerd.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tidy whities and all. But I do dig that. And I like the idea that she goes in and gets that bag of stuff and then passes a weapon to each of them.
Yeah.
And he's just totally oblivious.
Uh-huh. Well, he's been drinking. He's had pot. I mean, he's got these girls all over him. He's probably not paying attention to, you know, you notice that when they're passing the tools around, the one will keep showing her boobs to distract him.
Just the one, though. They can only afford to have her to go topless.
But Slade, this is a callback to last week, Metal Noir. Did you notice the placement of the wicker throne? They had the big wicker throne, like, in their apartment.
I didn't see that. No, like I feel terrible now that I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back.
I'm gonna have to go through and start watching movies and like just make a list of every movie where they've got that huge wicker chair. There's a podcast that nobody will listen to.
No, probably not.
I'll listen.
Oh, thanks.
Some wicker enthusiasts. Wicker chair enthusiasts.
I don't know, maybe Pier 1 would like sponsor me or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
IKEA or something.
They get all crazy again. They want to like give their thumbs up or whatever. And they cut off the girls' thumbs and whatever, you know. Ha 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 ha. Very cute.
Yeah.
But then we go into their promo video, which had the titles like we had said before. But the one thing that's I think is so cute about that at the end, they're doing like a Psycho kind of thing, you know. It's like, and she pulls out, the girl in the shower is just like, oh god, and just pulls out a gun.
Yeah, I always like that.
I really like the next scene that comes up, with the video store again.
Right, with
Like
Pat
that.
Benatar's mom.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so much. I thought it was a very original way to take and kill somebody too. Like I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, you've seen like the plastic bag over the head or whatever, but you never really saw like a shrink wrap type thing.
Yeah, you kind of sealed the deal with that. Like just meld it to their face. So,
Yeah, that would be a bad way to go. Yeah, but that was pretty cool. What did they say? They call it? We have to do a face print of you.
Yeah, a girl comes in. Her friends at the local college have set her up to get murdered at the local video store that we visited in Video Violence 1, and they ask for her identification, and and a credit card, and then they tell them that they need to take and proceed to do a face print.
So.
For easy identification in the future.
So I only just made a connection. I bet that they're trying to imply that the college girls from the one video are the ones who set her up.
Ah, possible.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But they proceed to take and strap her down in a chair with some rope, and
that's what like the newest technology requires.
It's
rope.
Totally new technology, totally painless. And then they proceed to wrap it around her face, and she starts screaming. And they take a blow dryer and just start like shrink wrapping the saran wrap to her face and suffocating her, which was I thought was very very unique kill.
Very clever. Yeah.
Yep.
But Then somebody who's in the store with their Lifer t-shirt said, when will this be available to rent? She's like, for Christ's sake, all you guys care about are new releases.
I mean, for Christ's sake, she experienced it right now.
Really?
She's just ready to go again with it.
That is true. You just watched the filming of said video. Why would you pay $5? Whatever.
Gotta relive it.
What did they say? Something about getting Debbie to talk is like pulling teeth, and they do this like Harney like do this thing where they're almost gonna do a high five, and Gordon kind of like flinches, and then they look at each other and they put their hands down. They're like, nah.
Yeah.
They're gonna just get her eyeballs closer to the camera, of course. I mean,
Yeah, do a nice eyeball pop.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to my favorite segment. back to the deli again.
Yeah.
Deli Dick's Country Kitchen.
Mine too. The deli stuff is always the best.
Oh God, with the slice and dicer.
The slice and dicer like breaks whenever he uses it.
Yes.
He's like, oh, well, hasn't been perfected.
Yeah. We obviously need to refine this a little bit.
They get this girl into the deli, and then they take and give her some more of the lemonade, and then they bring out this fucking ridiculous looking like a vegetable chopper monstrosity, and they put her hand in it, and then it fucking breaks.
Yeah, but he even says, well, the fingers that it did cut, and it almost makes you wonder.
That's a good save.
I would like to see if that was ad-libbed. I doubt it. It probably was supposed to be that way. I wouldn't think it was ad-libbed, but maybe it was.
Oh my God. And when they're going to set to do the Dracomatic on her, and they're like just taking in they're trying to twist her around on the counter, and she's like she takes and starts to help them, and she starts to move on her own despite having been incapacitated, and she moves her arms around it. It's completely obvious, and I died.
She's a good employee.
She is. Just setting herself to be drained by the Dracomatic, which is like a PVC.
Comes out of that thing.
What is it, like a sharpened PVC pipe with a
spigot? The show is over. All right. Yeah. That's a wrap. But then we have we have credits of the show. Yeah. But then we also have a full other, 10-15 minutes left.
Epilogue.
That's right, the epilogue. We have to stick with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go through this because for whatever reason, this whole thing always kind of just like it falls flat for me.
It kind of did for me as well. Not. I mean, it's kind of a fun idea. I think that if they would have maybe made it a little bit shorter with the videotape and made it a little bit more shorter, more cryptic, and then all of a sudden had the reveal of the two people taking and coming back. But of course, you would have had to watch the first one to understand the impact of these two particular people coming back. So
yeah, and this is probably the one segment that to really fully understand. Well, that's not entirely true. I was going to say you need to watch the first movie to fully understand this, but in a very, very different kind of sequel thing, they do like a full recap of the first movie in the very final segment of this movie.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun idea. I just don't think that it fit well with the format that they had established with the film. But
it got like a little like too meta or something, because then it's like, they're filming within a film, but then they've set it up and they're still filming, and
it did have the Dracula guy, the guy that like acted like the buzzard off of Looney Tunes. The oh God, I'm gonna bite you. It's just like every time he popped into the movie, I kind of chuckled some because he just acts so fucking stupid.
Yes, man. But then, I mean, when
did they actually shoot Gordo though?
Yeah, well, no, because
Wait, no, he's like cool at the end. He was part of it, right?
But how did he know that he was going to get pulled in? Like Eli would pull him in for the shot.
Who knows?
well, I think everybody was in on it, right?
Yeah, everyone except were Howard and Eli? They both weren't in on it, right? Or
Right.
one of them was in on it.
Because they were trying to scare him.
Yeah.
I also loved. I did love how they how the vampire dude just kept on using the fucking chainsaw on the dead body. It just kept on just going right into the body with it, like just obviously not trying to attack and hit Howard with it. We forgot that the actress was a little bit too annoying, so Eli dispatched her at towards the end with a nice snap.
Which I like that, that she's just like, don't, if you touch me again, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I started to take off all the bandages and everything else.
Who the fuck talks to that to a room full of murderers? I was just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Stop touching me. I'll slap you. It's like, oh, God. These people are cold-blooded fucking killers.
Yeah. I mean, even if you didn't, so they said she could, if she was either a local, probably not. But that also brings up a question. This is a really hard-hitting question, guys.
Okay.
So would they ever kill any of their own?
Well, I mean, in the, was it the first one where they said that if you move away, you try to move away.
They're gonna be afraid you're gonna tell someone. So of course they're gonna have to kill you. Everyone has to stay.
Yeah.
So I just how can they be sure somebody just leaving town for just a little bit wouldn't take an? It's like it's some kind of just a fucking cult. I wish they could have thrown Satan in there somewhere. That would have been pretty rad.
Yeah.
Speaking of Satan, I've just watched Ready or Not, and that's fucking fantastic. You guys need to watch
loved it.
Yes, so good.
What was it?
Ready or Not.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. I fucking loved it. Sorry, I just recently watched it, and I should have watched it in the theater, but I didn't get a chance to. It's fucking great.
Same here.
They did the Scooby-Doo where it's like the two people are actually not the two people who got chopped up, and they have these full latex masks on that made them look exactly like the other people.
Yep, like the original couple from the first one who got chopped into a million pieces. Evidently.
But then the finest surgeons put them back together.
That part was just like, how the no. That's not how that works.
Yes.
Not unless you got some fucking witchcraft in there. You don't.
All right. Then you do. That's right.
And speaking of witchcraft, that was supposed to be the angle that was supposed to go with Video Violence 3, but we still may never get that, which makes me sad.
I pray.
Yes.
We need to start a campaign for them.
Yeah. And even though we poke fun at a few parts of this movie, Gary, we love these films so much. Thank you so much for making them. If you're listening, you're probably not, but I hope you know.
I'll tag him.
Yes, please.
But so this is one of the funny things about listening to the commentary on the first one. There were a couple times that I wanted to turn off the commentary because they were making fun of the movie and not in the way we would poke fun at it, but they were just kind of wow, we really sucked there, or whatever. And I was like, what? How are you, like it's somebody else talking about it, and it's oh, I guess they have the right to, make fun of themselves, but you don't talk shit like that about this movie.
No, it's a probably well regarded as one of the best shot on video films out there, and I would totally agree with that.
I'd say second favorite shot on video movie behind Killer Nerd.
Killer Nerd's your favorite?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I grew up with that one.
Your first is always Redneck Zombies was my first, so I don't think that'll ever get upstaged. What's your absolute favorite, Rebecca? Is it
You know, I think it's video violence too. I mean, like if I had to factor in all like the nostalgia kind of, things.
Yes, that's how we bonded. Yay.
Yes. Yay.
Yay. I remember that when you took it, you're just like, holy shit, Slade. This is the movie. I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
Yeah. Like, yay. Analog Nightmares by Richard Mogg. You guys, if you don't have it, get it. It's the SOV Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty awesome.
Amazing.
Huh?
I have the book too. It's amazing.
It is. It is like, I mean, it is like the reference. So
Yeah.
great.
And I'm continually taking and finding new films. Like I go through it every so often and taking a look up to where trying to find new films to take and buy. And it's hard. It's hard. And some of that stuff is just skyrocketed to the point where I don't know if I'll ever be able to take and watch it, unfortunately. But we'll try.
We'll try. We'll just make a list and keep sending them to Tony. And come on.
Do Trash Cans from Hell, because from that book, that's the one I want to see the most.
Ooh.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so the way we rate it, and Tony's not here, and he's the one who can rattle this off. We do like kind of the old 5 scale. Like 0 is like, 1's okay, fair, 2's fair, that whole thing. I like to use half points, but we're not supposed to. But anyway, so Maddie, since you are our guest, what are your ratings for these 2 films?
I mean, I would give Video Violence a 5. And Video Violence 2, probably a 4.
Okay, that seems fair. I think actually, I mean, Slade. Sorry, we'll come back to you. I think that's exactly what I would say too. Even though Video Violence 2 is like, I mean, my nostalgic love. The end is it does poop out a little bit, but it's clever and But yeah, I'm going with the same thing, 5 and 4. Slade?
I'm gonna give Video Violence a 10.
Oh, okay.
Weren't we doing out of 5?
Out of 5, yes.
He's a rebel apparently.
No. Video Violence, the original Video Violence is definitely a 5 for me. I remember watching it. In the video store days, I remember the box, just everything about it screams parts of my childhood. The setting, everything is just fantastic. So definitely a 5. I would love to have the soundtrack on like CD, or I don't even know if it's available on vinyl, but I would doubt it.
I love it on vinyl.
Yes,
I was thinking that as I was recently watching it.
Oh God, it's so good, isn't it, Manny? Oh,
yeah. No, you need it on cassette.
No, 8-track.
Yeah.
I have a tape deck, so I could do cassette.
Woo-hoo!
I do. It's the cassettes get a bad rap. The quality of cassettes is not that bad. It really is not.
Yeah, but like when they get eaten in your tape deck, that's when you realize that it was kind of an inferior format.
It's lame, but you've got disc rot with CDs and scratches and things too. So you can maintain a tape deck for like if you buy a high quality one. But they still make those. They're still making those, and they're making magnetic like high grade magnetic tapes that cost a ridiculous amount. The bands are starting to take and release them again too. Like giving them out at concerts and stuff, because it's just easier than to take and it's kind of a, I guess,
portable.
It's portable and a hipster thing, kind of a little bit, but I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, Video Violence 2, around 4. Like, so we're in total agreement on it. The only thing that brings down 2 for me is that it does drag a bit in some segments. Aside from that, it is the same kind of levels of fun and cool score and fun characters, lots of energy.
So that does it for this iteration of SOBs who love SOV. Thank you very much again to Maddie Deering. And when could we expect spirit animal to reach the masses?
Our premiere is going to be March 13th in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be smell-o-vision, so there's going to be 5 unique smells to smell throughout the movie.
Ooh, is one of them cream of mushroom soup?
And I'm hoping to have it on Blu-ray in July, around when Gross Fest is.
Oh, sweet.
Blu-ray and DVD.
I can't wait to watch it. I love the trailer for that. If you guys take a look it up on YouTube, it's fantastic.
And we'll put the link.
Yes.
We'll put the link in the description. And then also, speaking of Gross Fest, so Maddie will have a table there. If all goes well, I'll be there. So come see us at Gross Fest in July. I think we figured it out. It was July sometime.
July 25th, 26th, maybe?
Yes. So it's an awesome, it's all devoted around like independent horror. It's kind of created in response to some of the bigger ones kind of shutting out some of the smaller filmmakers. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you out of Pittsburgh, Maddie?
Yes, I am.
Oh, gosh. Do you know Phil Stevens by chance?
I have never met him, but I've talked to him and I know who he is.
Okay.
Because he's in Philly.
Yeah, I thought he was out of Philly too. Yeah, I will be there with you guys in spirit.
Aww. You know what, though? You know where Slade will be, though? On Saturday, he and I will both be at the Vet City Con in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So come on out, see us, see Dwayne Whitaker, and hey, and even Eddie Munster is going to be there. So
yep, and I'll be the tall idiot wearing the Things shirt. So you'll be easily spotted.
I'll be the weird looking girl in a Cannibal Call Girls from Hell shirt.
Yes.
But I have your care package all ready, Slade. I got it all put together today. All the things I've gathered for you over the last few months, and then like we just never see each other. So you're gonna get this nice little like late Christmas present.
Oh, bless you. You're sweet. I can't wait. I haven't had a Saturday off in a bit, so I'm looking forward to it.
So come have fun with us, everybody. And so yeah, and again, Tony will be back probably end of February. I would think, because he has the wedding and then he has a honeymoon and all these other things. So so Maddie, if you want to come back, you are more than welcome to come back.
That's what I was about to say. Just would love to have you again.
Thank you so much.
Let's find Trash Can from Hell.
Please.
I also should mention, and I didn't mention this the last time, for Christmas, we were going to review Dave Castiglione's ex-Hooker's Christmas Carol. But he sent me a copy of it, and it didn't work. It like stopped about 15 minutes through, and so we couldn't get it in time for Christmas. But he ended up sending it to me again. Sent me another movie called Backwoods Marcy that he made, and we will eventually get to those. And I usually will not watch Christmas movies outside of December, but for this one, for him, I will make that exception.
I like watching holiday films sometimes out of like Daughter's Jug Band Christmas. I'll put on every so often because it brings all the feels out for me. It's childhood.
It depends on the Christmas movie.
Yeah, and how
Shitter's full.
My favorite Christmas.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Okay, I don't like people to touch the insides of my wrists. And if you hum Jingle Bells like in March, I will punch you. Like
if you hum Jingle Bells 2 weeks before Christmas, I'll punch you because I hate Christmas music. So I hate it. I'm a Scrooge when it comes to the Christmas music.
Well, because most of it sucks, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back most likely next week, and maybe we'll even post some stuff on the YouTube channel when Slade and I are in Kentucky. So he's like, "What?
Do you want to break your camera?" No.
Whatever. All right, guys. So we have been the SOBs who.
Love SOV.
Love SOV.
All right. Night,
We
guys.
should have cued her in before.